holy month of Ramadan, and we're in occupied East Jerusalem. Normally at this time the city is bustling with tourists from all over the world who've come to pray at Al-Aqsa Mosque and also sample the city and everything that it has to offer. But this year visitor numbers are drastically reduced. I've come to the National Hotel in occupied East Jerusalem to speak to the owner, Osama Salah. Osama, talk to us about your occupancy numbers at your hotel this year.
Actually, this year it is a disaster year for us as a tourism sector, for the hotels around us. We are not opening. It's 10% only occupancy, or less than 10% occupancy over here. Most of the hotels here in East Jerusalem, exactly, it's closed, And normally in this month, in this holy month of Ramadan, it's fully occupancy. It's above 90%. Now we're talking about 5%, 3%, 7%. So it's very bad, and we are not happy with that.
We're hearing that some airlines are restarting flights to Tel Aviv. Are you hopeful that people might start to come back?
We hope, but a few airlines, which is not the major airlines, who resume flying to Palestine. So if not the whole thing's finished, it's not going to affect us real good. Tourism, the indoor tourism, or about the people, our country, inside the Palestine, they are not coming because there is restriction for them to come and pray in Al-Aqsa Mosque. We need someone to remove this restriction to people to come and pray freely in the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Thank you for joining us. On the one hand, it feels somewhat jarring to be talking about money at a time when bombs are falling and babies are dying of malnutrition not far from here. But conflict comes with a real economic cost. So in the meantime, we have conflict that brings a threat to life, but it's also bringing a threat to livelihoods.
Let's now go to Kamil Hawash, who is a Palestinian academic and a writer, and he joins us now from Birmingham, UK. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. So, is there any support that businesses are receiving in the area? I wonder who can help and provide some support. It must be an immensely difficult situation and atmosphere, one that is actually very hard to even fathom from here.
Yes, I mean, we must remember that East Jerusalem is in this sort of peculiar place. Its economy isn't really linked to the West Bank and Palestine, nor is it linked to Israel. So it relies very much on its historic significance, tourism, people coming from all over the world to walk through its souks and to buy souvenirs and so on. But in addition to that, normally in Ramadan, restrictions on access of Al-Aqsa Mosque to people from the West Bank to come and pray Taraweeh prayers and Iftar prayers and so on, or Maghrib prayers are lifted, which means that people can come. In addition to that, people will also come from the 1948 areas, from cities inside Israel, all of them driven by the will to go and pray and to meet other Palestinians, spend hours, some of them stay overnight at Al-Aqsa Mosque. But because of the restrictions, which Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, suggested there would be no restrictions, there already have been restrictions, starting with the first day of Ramadan, restricting access to the holy places. So the question of who can support, it is very much, as the question was to the businessman a few minutes ago, it is people beginning to return to visit Palestine and Israel and to go to the souks and spend money that will drive the regeneration, if you like, of the growth in the old city.
Right, very, very interesting. Can you also try and help us understand and drive us through what were the main businesses in the area before the war, and of course if there is any potential in your opinion, in certain sectors after the war will end?
Yeah, so if we're talking about East Jerusalem in particular, it is very much the tourism. It is very much about people coming into the souks to buy goods. There are services. There are some civil service provisions as well, and all of them have been really hit by the current situation. There's also, if you like, fear for Palestinians to even operate as taxi drivers and so on in areas which are, maybe beyond the old city, because they fear for some intimidation, some violence. But particularly tourism has been the mainstay of the pilgrimage to the holy places, not just Al-Aqsa Mosque, but also to other significant holy sites that needs to restart. It can only restart really with people beginning to return. The Palestinians in East Jerusalem suffer from poverty as well, so it isn't enough for the Palestinian businesses to rely on Jerusalemites to come in and shop. They do need people to come in. Access from the West Bank is heavily restricted, and even access to the Al-Aqsa Mosque is restricted in terms of age. Young people can't access it, but also coming from the West Bank is a really tall order. So what is needed is for normality to begin to return. And it is, of course, difficult for that to happen while there is a war only a few kilometers away in Gaza.
On this last point that you were making, I'd like to ask you, how has been the state of the economy of East Jerusalem, but also of the entirety of the Palestinian area since the beginning of the war? If you can help us define the state of this economy and whether you are at all optimistic somewhat that something can be restored after the potential end of the war.
The problem with the Palestinian economy is it's heavily entangled with politics. So restriction movements, the ability to export and import materials, or restrictions on materials, obviously particularly in Gaza, but generally. In addition to that, Israel keeps back some of the taxes that the Palestinians should receive, the Palestinian Authority, from goods that are, if you like, imported in, which means that they struggle to pay salaries. And without salaries at full level, never mind growth, then people are unable to go out and purchase as they would in Ramadan normally.